gonna make the world's largest donut to break the Guinness World Record.
But in order to break the world record,
we've got to find the perfect donut to replicate. Can I please just get one of everything? As we all know, donuts come in many different shapes and sizes.
you have your classic original cake donut,
My personal favorite, the butternut donut,
a good old glazed donut,
and of course, all sorts of different frosted ones. After lots of deliberation and even a bit of arguing, we finally settled on the one. The iconic pink frosted Homer Simpson style donut.
But here's where things get crazy.
When searching the internet for inspiration, Linja and I came across something called a donut cake.
It's exactly what it sounds like.
A perfect harmony of donut and cake, two of the best foods in the entire world. The big question is, can it break an official world record? We're here at the bakery.
And we're starting with this Linja-sized bowl. This is Grandma's famous chocolate cake recipe.
We're starting with some oil.
Next, some sugar.
And a bunch of brown sugar.
Then a bunch of eggs.
Then 5 pounds of sour cream. Then 5 pounds of sour cream.
And some homemade vanilla extract.
Now we'll lock it into our giant mixer.
This mixer is almost as tall as me.
And then it's time for our first mix.
That's what good cake sounds like.
Now to finish it off, we'll go with some flour.
And now the cocoa powder.
Now our second mix. Then finally our last ingredient, some steaming hot coffee.
Coffee boosts the chocolate flavor in baked goods.
Now it's time to start baking. We're gonna be filling 100 trays to make our donut. In we go.
30 minutes later, our cake is done.
I got hands of steel. After lots of baking,
We have a Linja stack of cakes.
I think it's time to assemble. This attempt will be judged by Brittany, a Guinness World Records adjudicator. We also have Dennis, the health inspector, to make sure that the food is handled properly. The challenge today is time.
Nick and Linja, you have 8 hours to finish this cake, or I have to disqualify you for food safety reasons. I don't make the rules.
You do make the rules though. This is the footprint of our giant donut we'll be making today, which if we pull it off will be the equivalent of 1,500 regular donuts.
All the sheet cakes have been cut in half.
But our first step is to cover the base with buttercream frosting. Once we have our first layer of buttercream, we'll start going down with our cake. Each layer of our donut is gonna have 6 sheet cakes. We're gonna be trimming this down later to make sure it looks perfect, but for now we can break off the edges, throw it into our bucket. None of this cake today will be going to waste. We'll be donating all the food through FarmLink later on today.
The first layer is done, and then we're gonna repeat it 10 times.
Real quick, the buttercream we're using today is the same recipe that's in my cookbook, and it is the best buttercream frosting you will ever taste.
Well, that is good.
Into the fridge this goes to chill for 20 minutes. Thanks, Linja. We need to let this chill so it can firm up because we'll be doing exactly this 2 more times. After chilling the donut for 1 hour, we added the next 3 layers onto the cake. Our layers are definitely starting to add up, but we have to toss this in the fridge one last time so it doesn't crumble. We don't want what happened with that dumpling we did with Uncle Roger to happen to this cake.
This sucks. This was my divorce.
Now that we've chilled it again, it's time to start spreading the buttercream once again, where we'll then add the final 3 layers to our cake.
Just so you know, in order for this to count as a new Guinness World Records title, the donut cake has to be at least 1 foot high.
Let's hope it's 1 foot high.
We're finally putting on the final layer of cake.
But the big challenge right now is that we're up against the time.
We're a little behind schedule, and we got 3 hours to go.
We are now at the point where we're ready to carve the cake, and it's gonna start taking the shape of a donut.
What we're holding here are the stencils.
These are gonna be helping guide us to know how much cake to cut off. Our stencil is on top, meaning we wanna carve off this part right here. Linda's gonna be catching all those cake scraps so we can eat those later. To me, so far, this is the most satisfying part of anything we've done today. And it's really nice to finally see all the different layers that we've put together.
Time's ticking, we only got 2 hours left.
Now that our donut is carved around the sides, we need the hole in the middle, and this is where the small stencil comes in. But in terms of the stability of this donut, this is where things start to get really dangerous. We don't want it collapsing in on itself, and we don't want it collapsing out. We're almost finished taking out this hole in the center of our donut, but I'll be honest, my arms are getting pretty tired. This is what it takes to get a world record. It's definitely starting to take the shape of a donut, but to finish things off, I'm kneading together some of the cake and frosting scraps that we have, then bringing that over to the donut itself and pressing it across the top and some of the little cracks in the sides to make sure it looks perfect. When you mix cake and frosting together, it basically makes a sort of Play-Doh. Now that it's really starting to look like a donut, we have to add a layer of frosting across the entire thing, but this means we're getting pretty close. The thing that I'm really scared about right now is time. If we don't do this within that 8-hour mark, Dennis will toss the record.
As a reminder, this is what we're going for.
And we're getting closer and closer. This now has to go back in the fridge to firm up before we put the fondant on top. The fondant is what's gonna lay across the top of the donut and make it perfectly smooth. And at the very end, probably the coolest part of the day, we'll be airbrushing it to give some color and also dumping frosting across the top. And you're not gonna wanna miss that. For now, we'll just keep kneading this until it's as smooth as a baby's bottom.
How do you know what a baby's bottom feels like?
This whole machine right here is basically a giant version of a pasta machine. But instead of rolling out pasta dough, we're rolling out fondant. Now we'll turn the lever up so it's a bit thinner, and again we go. And after we've rolled out our first slice, we'll lay it carefully and gently over our donut.
This right here is a fondant smoother. Wax on, wax off.
Now that our fondant is all laid out,
We're in the home stretch.
this is called an airbrush, and it's what's gonna allow us to paint the whole donut. We're using multiple coats and colors in order to achieve that classic, realistic donut look. Now that our donut is the perfect golden brown color, we get to do the part that we're most excited for.
Pouring on our glaze.
We have to hope and pray right now that this doesn't fall too far down the sides or we won't get the record. Here we go. We're gonna go all around the top of the donut and let it fall however it wants to. We also have to make sure we keep this as even as possible, giving us the perfect frosted donut. Linja, this is probably one of the most satisfying things I've ever seen in cooking. Our frosting is done, and these are the sprinkles that are gonna complete our donut.
They're made out of fondant.
At this point, it's time to channel our inner salt bae and add a bunch of sprinkles to finish it off. I've got to use a special strategy to hit it from the side too. We've definitely made the biggest donut now, but one question remains.
Is it official?
I can confirm we have a final weight, 225.9 pounds. And that makes this a brand new Guinness World Records title. Congratulations once again, you both are officially amazing.
And the best part of it all, you'll find this donut in the Guinness World Records book of 2024. You'll be able to read about this record and all the other ones we've broken right here. Huge thanks to Oak Leaf Bakery for letting us use their facilities. All of this food today will be donated throughout Boston with the help of the Farmling Project. Comment below what record you want us to break next.